Dead Rising is an action comedy zombie game series created by Inafune Keiji during his time in Capcom. It comprised of open-world games taking place in different towns that have been under containment and suffering from a zombie attack, and each entry, aside from the fourth entry and a what-if version of Dead Rising 2, feature a different protagonist, so you don't feel limited to what the characters can do despite having similar movesets. This review covers Dead Rising 3 as it is the only entry I can record since the capture card stopped working properly, and it's also the most recent entry of the series I just played. Dead Rising 3 is the first title of the series to be developed for the Xbox One in 2013, with the PC version being released a year later. Taking place in the fictional city of Los Perdidos, California, it allows players to explore the entire area without load times, which is actually a plus since you get to see a lot more zombies on screen than you would expect in the previous games. Although it could probably slow your PC down if you don't have the right amount of VRAM or even have the right CPU to, let alone the right GPU. Anyway, let's get on to the review. 3 takes place a decade after 2 when the government created a Zombie Defense and Control, an agency made for keeping check on zombie outbreaks, which unfortunately had just happened at Los Perdidos, and all hell breaks loose. You play as the auto mechanic Nick Ramos, as he, his co-workers, and a few survivors had to find a way out of the city, save some survivors, and find out the cause of the outbreak, all in the span of 1 week. However, the Secretary of Defense had secretly sent agents to kill any survivors during the outbreak, and Nick just happens to be one of them. So he just had to make sure he and his fellow survivors get out of the city alive. The gameplay is still the same, but this time the area had expanded into a city. Traveling around would be heavily relying on using vehicles, and since Nick is an auto mechanic, you can actually combine vehicles so they can be tougher and go further, but they can still break after a certain amount of crashes and zombies being ran over. Like in Dead Rising 2 and its What If, Nick can create combo weapons and vehicles by searching for blueprints instead of combo cards, but he can create them without going to a garage or maintenance room as it's a zombie outbreak. You have to make stuff as quick as you can, but making a vehicle out of two others actually take longer in real life, thus killing you in the process. What's different this time around is the flow of time, as it is slower than in previous titles, allowing you to finish any side missions that are available at the time, along with the fact that the chapters themselves, apart from overtime, aren't linked to a specific time. So you won't have to worry about missing the appointed time and end up having either a game over screen or a bad ending. Also different from previous games is that your skills and stats are not randomized whenever you level up, so you can set points earned through leveling up to learn new skills and gain stats so that you don't have to restart the save file just to get the right stat first. Dead Rising 3 has a few DLC when compared to 2, as most of the DLC E3 has are story DLC, which the first 3 are prequels, while the last part is an epilogue which had connections to an Xbox exclusive series of side missions. There's also an arcade-style DLC game, which is also Xbox One exclusive, called Super Dead Rising 3, in which you play as all 3 main characters, and an NPC, which you will definitely identify if you play through Dead Rising 3. It's a beat 'em up in which you go through different stages with cameos of other Capcom characters and hordes of zombies. As I only have the PC version, I felt left out. Anyway, at least I have the Capcom vs series at home, so I'm not that left out. Dead Rising 3 is a better title when compared to the previous entries, as it has a bigger world, a longer day and night cycle, so you can finish everything in a few days in-game, and a wide variety of content you can find throughout the game, and you'll find yourself having one heck of a time going through hordes of zombies and psychopaths standing in the way. I recommend this game to Dead Rising fans, survival horror comedy fans, and beat 'em up fans.